Well, welcome everybody. Sorry for the being backlit. I hope that's not going to be too much of a problem. But at this time of year, the sun just comes through that window. What can you do? Um, so today we're going to be playing with um, what you would call leaning in or not leaning in. And I mean, very simply put, I mean, it just means that um, we're kind of leaning forward or leaning backward uh, posturally. But as with everything with the body, there's a profound psychological correlate to whatever the body is doing. And in this society particularly, we are prone, we're taught to lean in. And that is a form of grasping. So leaning in has to do with um, the next thing um, or the future or wanting to get something. And once we become a little more conscious of doing meditation and so on, it can become pretty clear that we're leaning in a lot of our lives, a lot of our waking life. Um, we are actually physically leaning forward. Um, if we're sitting or if we're standing, if we're walking, if we're speaking, we're leaning in. Uh, and we're not content with being upright and just being with what is. So, at a very fundamental level, the Dharma is training us to be with what is right now and right here. I mean, this is what Thich Nhat Hanh says, the here and the now. Um, and then in Qigong, it means we're not leaning forward. Our weight isn't forward into the future. It's not back into the past. We're present. And this kind of feeling manifests for us in different ways. And one way is just a dissatisfaction, a a subtle dissatisfaction with what's going on right now. And the mind wanting to go into, okay, well, what's next? How do I get out of this? How do I move on? What's next? What's next? What's next? And it's like a dragon that's actually eating our lives. This kind of grasping. Now, the Buddha described this translation of this as existential angst. That there's things just aren't quite right. No matter what we have, no matter who we think we are, things just, they're just a little off. There's something missing. And so that translates, among other things, as leaning in or leaning forward. So uh, we've worked a lot with the vertical, with the heaven, rising energy, falling energy, heaven and earth. That has to do with spatiality, with where we're at right now. We're between materiality and boundlessness. We're between earth and heaven. That's kind of where we are. The leaning forward and leaning back, and this manifests in sitting meditation too, has to do with time, where we're at in time. So if we're leaning forward, we're going into the future. We're not in the present moment. If we're leaning back, we're back in the past. So by regulating our verticality and then our leaning in, leaning out, by regulating that, we literally and physically come into the present here and the present now. Okay, so I'm saying all this ahead of our practice, just so that maybe we can refer to that as we're going through our movements and postures. Okay, so starting with standing, and this is the very most basic first thing, but just to sense into your feet. Now, you've been doing this a long time, so you probably just fall right into this. But it can be useful to notice where our weight is. If our weight is a little bit back on our heels, if it's a little bit on our balls of our feet or toes. So just standing, if we're doing kind of a body scan and we just notice starting with the feet, okay, where's my weight? Okay, and the voice, the one that's saying, where's my weight, and that's intentionally feeling it, that's mindfulness. Mindfulness is always in the present moment. Okay, so we want to kind of register this feeling of the bottoms of our feet and check it out as we're doing various other movements and postures, because right now we got it. I mean, we're in it. And now, since we're not leaning forward or back, then there's the only place to be is aligned. So we're just naturally, we're not leaning forward, we're not leaning back, so we're in the middle. And then we can check out in breath, rising energy, the yang energy going up, kind of stretching us up, and out breath, relaxing, going down. So just standing in this posture, mindfully noticing front to back, up and down. This is a practice of being in the present moment. Okay, now we're going to bow to the directions. So we set that intention. And of course, we're going to begin by dipping the knees and sitting. So down. Okay, now check out just here, how's your weight? We don't want it forward, so down. Then we come up, and then the hands continue that. Check the weight forward or back on your feet. Okay, and let's bow to the east. Check your weight as you go down, bottoms of the feet, and come up. So we can bow forward and not actually lean forward. Okay, now shift the weight to the left foot and swing around. Okay, and before we bow to the south, we check the bottoms of the feet were even. Okay, so now bow to the south. Okay, shift the weight to the left foot, swing the right one around. Okay, check the bottoms of the feet when the weight is even. Now as we go down, notice the bottoms of the feet. You bend the knees. Nothing moves, nothing changes. It's still the same as standing. Okay, shift the weight to the left, swing around, bow to the north. Okay, weight is not forward or backwards, it's even. Okay, noticing the bottom of the feet going down, nothing changes. Even though our head is going down, it's tipping us forward, but we're counterbalancing it. So back the north, back up. Okay. And then swing around again to the original, to facing your screen. Okay. Now we're going to go up. So this isn't going to move things too much. So sinking down. So going up. Check the bottoms of the feet. Everything's good. Okay, stretch. And we're not leaning backwards. Up, up, up. Okay, out. Okay, now we're going to bend. We're gonna want to lean forward, but we're not going to. So we balanced. We bend the knees. Feet remain rooted. You just check that you're even. Very good. And then the hands just finish. Check that to see if any muscles tensed up there. Okay, and let's go back to standing. So just to notice how subtle this is, let's just raise our arms, just let our arms. Notice the bottoms of the feet. And when you raise your arms, you're going to tip forward naturally, unless you counterbalance, you stick your butt out a little bit, bend the knees a little bit, sink down. Now, even though the arms are out, still rooted, still upright. Okay, and then notice the bottoms of the feet as the hands go down. And let's put our arms out behind us. This is tending to pull us backward. We're going to counterbalance, bend the knees. Not too much. And then bring the hands back down. Okay. Very good. Now, let's see what happens left and right when we go on one foot. So let's just let the hands come up into the playing the piano. And one teacher who said, if you stick your tongue out, it's going to make a difference. Okay, so now let's shift the weight to the one side. Shift, 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 it gets heavier and heavier, but still even front to back. Okay, and then even lifting the heel, still even. Okay, and then place the heel back down, shift back to center, and then shift to the other side. It's not heavy on the toes, not heavy on the heels, exactly centered. And then lift up the other heel. Okay, and then place it back down. So we're doing this mindfully, let's repeat, so that we're used to the feeling of the whole foot, not tipping forward or back, but centered. We're really focusing, noticing how this feels. Okay, and then let's shift to the other side. Noticing bottoms of the feet. Okay, let it be even. When it's even, then lift the heel. Once we notice what that feels like, then we know when it's out of balance. So if you lift that leg now, that's going to tip you forward. And you're going to counterbalance by bending the knee, sinking down. Okay, touch again. Shift over to the left. So mind is in the foot, bottom of the foot. Okay, we're going to lift that right leg. That's going to pull us forward, but keep the foot even. Okay, and back. Okay, and back to standing. Okay. Now let's rock forward a little and really feel that on the balls of the feet, the toes, and the heels are almost like coming up. Okay, that's leaning in. Okay, and then come back to center, and then lean back. The toes almost come off the floor. That's leaning back and come back to center. Okay, so this is a practice of balancing the body, of course, but it's much deeper than that. This is a mindfulness practice of being in the present moment. So Thich Nhat Hanh teaches us that mindfulness means mindfulness of something. And so here we're mindful of the weight, or I should say the pressure on the bottoms of our feet. That's our object of mindfulness. And when we're aware that that is balanced, that's a moment of pure presence. When we understand what that means. Now, you can also, if it's useful, use your imagination or your mind. Imagine a point, sort of in the middle of the foot, and drop the attention right down to that point in both feet. So you're really feeling and imagining that place that's actually in the feet. Okay, now from there, we can extend our intention downward so the belly gets soft, knees are soft, and we're sending that down into the ground as roots. We're focusing on the out breath, and we're actually feeling the roots in the ground. So if we really had roots in the ground like a tree does, how would they feel? So this is deeper than just the bottoms of the feet. The bottoms of the feet are balanced. And now we're deepening that using the mind. And the out breath. And if you want to close your eyes or mostly close them, then the eyeballs are going to be looking down inside the body and down right into the roots. So as if the roots could see. So and we're focusing on the out breath. And it's natural to make tiny adjustments because we're not a concrete statue. We're going to make teeny little adjustments as we stand here. Okay, let's take a couple more breaths. Okay, good. Now, go ahead and break your stance. Now let's go ahead and loosen the body. Let's go into Trembling Mountain. Now that we kind of understand how to do all that, course, it's easier to do and to maintain if the body's relaxed, if it's comfortable. Okay, how do you do this if there's pain or if you really can't stand upright because of some orthopedic issue or something? This can be done lying down too, much easier because there's no leaning forward or back with the body. Then it just becomes the mind. But if we can use the body and be one with the body in doing this, the mind will follow. And so when we go into sitting practice, being in the present moment will be a felt experience. Not just a concept. Okay, another 30 seconds or so. Check the bottoms of the feet. Okay, and let's reduce the movement and stop the movement. Okay. Okay, check that you're even front to back. Okay, let's do the shoulder lift. So dipping the knees and up, real tense. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do 2 more. So dip the knees, up. 1, 2, 3. Okay, dip the knees and up. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and let the head move around. And let the shoulders move around. Check out the bottoms of the feet. All right, okay, very good. So let's go ahead and open the breathing. So in breath. Notice the bottoms of the feet. Okay, just a couple more. All right, and hips swiveling. Okay, good. Now find your standing posture again. Follow the out breath down. How does the bottom of the feet, how do they feel? Okay, you can drop down into the roots if you want to. Focusing on the out breath. And now moving up the body. The belly's maybe sticking out just a touch. And the chest is soft, arms are heavy. Now the head. Most of us are going to have to naturally tuck in the chin. Because, as I said, our natural posture is leaning in. So the head is going to be kind of naturally forward, because that's how we've been trained to live. So if that's not true for you, good for you. That's great. A lot of us, though, we need to consciously lower and tuck the chin, which is the same as opening the back of the neck. So when we lower and tuck the chin, the head comes back. It's not leaning forward. And the mind comes into the body. The mind isn't looking ahead for the next thing. The mind is right here. And now focusing on the in-breath. So the in-breath elongates us. And the eyes then would be internally would be looking up through the top of the head. Now you can feel when the chin is tucked just right, the back of the neck opens, and that opens the spine and aligns the crown of the head straight down, all the way down. It aligns it with the perineum. So this takes some mindfulness, some effort. We can assume by the way our body feels that we're our chin is kind of out, we're leaning forward. Most of us are. So we look for that. There it is. Okay, now I'm just going to tuck the chin and feel that. There's a sense of openness. The lungs open up a little, throat opens up, and there's this alignment. And just by assuming this posture with mindfulness, that is paying attention to it, just this present moment awareness. So the mind can be noticing the bottoms of the feet and the pressure. It can be way down in the center of the earth or down in the roots. It can be in the belly, in the lower dantian, feeling the breath there. It can be in the middle dantian, in the heart area, the lungs. It can notice if the body's relaxed, or if monitoring if the body is balanced. It can be noticing the chin, the back of the head, back of the neck. So this is using mindfulness to notice being in this present moment in time and in space. Okay, now if we want, we can extend our attention way up So sort of doing the same thing we did with the roots down the bottom, we're doing the kind of the branches, if you will, up and then extending way, way, way up. So connected to the cosmos and to the universe, and connected down to the earth. And then standing in this position with mindfulness, we're embodying the unity of what the ancients called heaven and earth. So head way up in the sky, feet way down in the ground, body in the middle. So is the chin still tucked? How is the weight on the bottom of the feet? Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, let's go ahead and break our stance a little. So that's using mindfulness to notice how the body's feeling, and that then the feedback from that is present moment awareness. Uh, Moment of awakening, really, moments of awakening. Okay, so how does this work now when we're moving? So let's do a couple of 3 tree and springs. Okay, so we're gonna maybe widen our stance a little bit because we're gonna move, and so the chin now is tucked, and we're noticing the bottom of the feet, and we're pointing down, and we can extend beyond the fingers and down into the earth. Okay, so we're going to start by dipping the knees. Okay, so in breath, directing the attention up the body. Is the belly relaxed? Check the breathing. Is the chin dropped? Uplift at the back of the head. Now we go beyond the body, up, 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 way up, out. Okay, a moment of connection, sky and earth coming around. The eyes are following the hands inside the body. Okay, 1. Sink the knees. Check the pressure on the bottom of the feet. Okay, in breath. Tuck the chin. As you go by, check the chin. Check the back of the neck. Open up the top of the head. Way, way, way up. Okay, out breath going down. And check the bottoms of the feet. Drop the attention down. Last one. So in breath. Coming up the body, checking it as we go up. Checking the chin. Sending the attention out into Indra's net. Touching all that is. Eyes are coming down. Okay, and back to standing. Now, I don't mean to say that you have to always be centered on the feet. I mean, you can rock back and forth a little bit. That's actually relaxing, because the bottoms of your feet can get a little tired. So that's okay to do that as long as you're doing it on purpose. All right, now let's do one in front. So let's do cloud hands. So just bringing the hands into this position, we're going to have to counterbalance by bending the knees a little bit, and that sort of sticks the butt out a little bit and softens the belly. So we're counterbalancing this. Okay, so turn in the direction of the upper hand. Now we're going to be shifting the weight onto the other foot, but it's still going to be balanced front to back. Okay, so 50-50, and then as the weight shifts, still balanced. Okay. Okay, check that the chin is tucked. And when you feel this, then go ahead, you can expand your stance if you want, and then make this into a dance. Wind in the clouds, passing hands through the clouds. So the clouds are sort of the wind, just passing through these objects that seem so solid, but really aren't. And we're maintaining our upright, balanced posture through the whole movement. The chin is tucked. The weight is even front to back. We're in the present moment. This is enough right now. We're not grasping for the next movement. We're just here right now. Now you add in the breath, moving with the breath. Now you might get off balance a little, front to back, that's fine. Just notice that. Correct for it, the body will correct for it. Now this is more difficult, all these things are more difficult if your eyes are closed. As if your eyes are open, you have reference points in your environment. You can do it with your eyes closed, but just notice. You might try it. Just notice. You have to depend now on feeling alone to know if you're upright. And so check the feeling of the chin. Check the feeling of the bottoms of the feet. You can tell how you're doing. Most movements, I think, are taught with eyes open, but do what works for you. Okay, let's reduce the movements. And you'll probably reduce the width between your feet a little bit too, since you're going to be standing. And it's fine to sort of sway front to back a little bit, just to find, and then reduce that movement and just find that center. Okay, let's do one more. So let's do boat rowing in the stream of air. Now in this one, so we're going to bend the knees, bend the waist, hands are way forward. Listen like a swimmer that's about to dive. Okay, check the bottoms of the feet. Okay, and then continue to monitor the front to back. So we're counterbalancing with the torso, aren't we? What the hands are doing. We're sticking the butt way out. We're sticking the belly out. And the pressure on the feet, bottoms of the feet, remains constant. Okay. Let's just do a couple more. Okay, I'm back to standing. Okay, very good. And let's go ahead and bring up our stool. Okay, and just loosen your body up a little bit. So checking the bottoms of the feet. Now this will be another indication. Most of the weight is on our butt, of course, but the feet will be even. And moving up, we want to relax the belly, chest, and drop the chin. And then check that vertical alignment. One of the basic things about sitting meditation, um, like I said, most of us need to intentionally drop the chin. If we're meditating and we lose mindfulness, the chin may rise up. And when your chin rises up, then your face kind of tilts upward. You lose the alignment, and the energy goes into the head. And when people are meditating and their chin is up like this, they're probably daydreaming. They're probably lost in thought or imagination or worry. Um, and of course, once the mindfulness kicks in and we realize, oh, I'm lost in my thinking, then it's just, we can come back to the breath, certainly, drop the chin. By dropping the chin, we bring the whole body into alignment, and the mind naturally notices that, goes to that. The chin is dropped, the mouth, the tongue is touching the roof of the mouth behind the front teeth, and the jaw is relaxed. And likewise, when we're sitting in meditation, we can be tilted back, and that can come from having the head tilted up. We could just kind of be tilted back. That's going to tend to put us into the past, memories and so on. Or if we're sitting, we can be tilted forward too. And that's going to be that familiar leaning. When is this going to be over? What's next? This is boring. What's going to happen? That tends to give rise to that kind of thinking. So the quality of the meditation is directly related to the position of the body. And you can certainly do this sitting in a chair with a back and leaning against the back. You're not using your muscles to hold yourself up, but nevertheless, you can be in an upright posture, leaning against the back of the chair. This helps strengthen our intention to be in the present moment. And that means that we're not being lost in thought. So if thoughts are arising, we maybe notice it, but um, they're just passing through. If there's a noise outside, a distraction of some kind, it's just passing through. So that's why this is called sitting mountain. There can be all kinds of activity on the mountain, but the mountain is still. What's the point of maintaining this posture and going into this meditation? One thing that will happen is the body and mind will unite. The mind will be in the body, and the body will be in the mind. So the mind will not be lost in thinking. It'll be in the sensations of the posture in the body. And the body is arising moment to moment in consciousness. The felt sense of the body is appearing, is perceived in the mind. The felt sense of the body arises moment to moment in the mind. The body is in the mind. So then body and mind become meaningless. And there's just presence. The presence is aware that there's a body here. Presence is aware that there is a mind here. But it doesn't differentiate between them. And mindfulness is here, and it's monitoring the posture, and it's monitoring the activity in the mind. And so if the posture begins to get stiff, then mindfulness might say, okay, well, let's move a little bit, just a little. if the mind, thinking is starting to happen in the mind, the mindfulness will notice that and say, oh, okay, let's move a little bit. Take a deeper breath. So this is an active process of adjusting moment to moment, like riding a bike, keeping the balance. Check the chin. Make tiny adjustments as you need to. And this state of mind is called samadhi. Just it means full concentration, just aware of the here and the now. And let's take a couple more breaths. And then you can do whatever little things you need to do to be comfortable. Okay, so let's go ahead and clap our hands one time together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, how do you feel? And thank you for your practice. And if you would like to drift off, please do so. And if you would like to remain for questions and comments, then we'll do that.